Okay, I have started the recording now that there's a quorum. And we will just need I emailed Chad. I do not have his cell number, but I emailed him again a few minutes. Oh, here he comes. Well, so he'll be joining us, and then in about a minute and a half, it'll be 7 o'clock. So let me see if I can get a Are you there, Chad?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's Chad Skippers. So let me take one look to see if Chad's, I gotta get out of the shared screen. Well, now Jenny will get her as a panelist. She must have logged, I don't know why she. Since we have two Chads, Chad, I'm gonna put Skippers here.
Or you can put my nickname.
No, we'll take your professional work name. I don't even want to know your nickname. Okay. I don't know if Chad might not be making it, Jenny. I did send another email.
Chad, let me,
I just seen his face. I thought I did.
No, sorry, he's not on. So I don't know if someone has a cell number or what you'd like to do.
think I do. Let me. There he is. I'll send him a message real quick. All right. Screen really bad.
It's a little, I don't know, foggy. It, like probably has some tape sticking on it or something.
I have.
You're not a cat.
I am not a cat. I have two Zooms open. I don't know if that's why.
Oop, looks like she closed the wrong one. Well, we'll wait for her to log back on.
50-50.
Yeah. Give her a couple minutes. I'm sure she'll log right back in. Hopefully she's not trying to talk on the other one because I don't see her in any of the areas. I still have a, oh, here she is. So we'll be able to go ahead and get started.
I don't know what's happening.
There you go.
All right. I texted chat. I don't see a response, and I know Julie will not be here. So it's 7:04, so let's call this meeting to order. Sandra, do you want to do the roll call?
Gotcha. All right, Wendy Fields,
Here.
Jenny Holmes,
Here.
Aaron Gunnett,
Here.
Rob Peterson,
Here.
and that would be everybody today. And I am here.
The only other item we need in with the updated Zoom rules, if you're not calling from within the village of Vicksburg village limits, you do need to state for the record where you're calling in from.
Okay, so I'm calling in from my house on South 32nd Street. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
For people to know, that is in Kalamazoo County and Brady Township, I believe.
Yes. Is there anyone else that's outside of the village limits? I don't think so.
Okay, with that, we need an approval of tonight's agenda.
Don't move.
Second.
That was Rob.
Did we do?
I'll second it. I don't think
Okay.
anybody seconded it. Yeah.
Then we'll just need to do the roll call vote.
Okay. Wendy, do you approve the agenda as submitted? Wendy Fields?
Yes.
Yes. Rob Peterson?
Yes.
Jenny Holmes?
Yes, I do.
Aaron Gunnett?
Yes.
And I also do as well.
Mr. Mallory, I am hearing from Mr. Kissinger, and it looks like he'll be trying to join us.
Okay. I can bring back the shared screen. He's not into the connection yet, so.
Okay. Okay, moving along, I asked for an update on the infrastructure project because
Did we approve the meeting
oh,
minutes?
did we? I thought we did.
So moved.
No?
I
move
second.
approval.
I second.
Okay. Who was the first?
Rob?
Thank you. Thank you.
Robert's rolling over in his grave right now.
Okay, and then so roll call vote. Wendy, do you approve the minutes as submitted?
Yes.
Okay, Jenny?
Yes.
Do you approve the meeting minutes as submitted, Aaron?
Yes.
And then Rob, do you approve the meeting minutes as submitted?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. And then Chad, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I approve them.
Okay, thanks. It's good to see ya.
Now, moving on. I asked for an update on the infrastructure project. Just so that we all know as representatives of the government what's going on, and then how that maybe affects parks and specifically Oswald Park, because there had been some conversations about perhaps making updates to Oswald Park as part of this infrastructure project. So Jim, did you wanna?
Sure. I just need to, I want to bring in a shared screen here. I think it helps just a little bit. We'll get this to switch to one. This was the document, if everyone can see it on the screen share. Let me move this a little bit so I can see. And this was the document that we all worked on and was a finalized document that went in front of the council on June 22nd. As you can see, reference, we utilized everyone's input, both on this committee, the council level, other people we contacted, reference the overall fiscal budget. And we also utilized the master plan document of Vicksburg, as well as the Parks and Rec master plan to put it together, put on some items, and we can review them, or I can go back if someone wants to reference the historical things. The big item as far as CIP for Parks and Rec really was the fish platform at Sunset Lake. Now, we did indicate that because of COVID-19's pandemic in March of 2020, all CIP projects were going to be put on hold until we knew exactly state shared revenue. We had our audits back and all of that, which we're happy to report. Our audit came back again for the third consecutive year, for the first time in Vicksburg's history, that comment-free, as well as putting another $430,000 in general fund reserve, which positions the village very well if we continue on the plan that's been laid out in the next 3 to 5 years. So our goal is on this item is to hopefully secure 5 bids by the April Parks and Rec meeting. And why we've given that is the way the village's fiscal year goes from July to June. I do not anticipate, it will be great if those bids would start construction and finish construction before June 30th. But I just, if that cannot happen, we will then move it to the 2021-2022 fiscal year with those updated quotes. The way that we're finding the prices of construction materials in that, we'll get the actual quotes and have a recommended bid ultimately to the council to approve expenditures on this project. But in our utilizing general fund money, if we start a project in a fiscal year, we want that project to complete within the fiscal year. It saves a lot of time and effort and headaches in trying to get things moved from one fiscal year to the other. So depending upon what the bids come back and depending upon the construction season, I just wanted to update the Parks and Rec. This still is in our plans to update and move forward. Best case scenario, a time that it would go for final approval in front of the council. It does not come back in front of this group. The money is what necessitates it going back in front of the council. Best case scenario, that would be in May to complete by the end of June, or it'll be a notice to everyone that we're going to move it into the next fiscal year's budget presentation. I would still seek approval from the council, and we've done this on a couple projects before where we get the approval within the 21-22 fiscal year, so then we can get back to the contractors to start on July 1st. So I'm going to pause on that item if there's any questions from this group.
Have we been inspecting that platform to make sure it's safe for people to go on, or is there any point where we might need to rope it off?
If there is, we'll go ahead and do it, but I haven't been advised that it's at that point yet. And so.
Hey, Jim, is it gonna stay in its footprint or is it gonna go further into the lake? What's it gonna look like?
I believe it's just staying in its footprint. No
Okay.
prep work up to this point expanded it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I guess
The-
I do have, this is Chip,
Sure.
sorry.
No,
It just
that-
came to mind. So I was there probably last fall with my kiddos, and the bank that does go to that, because you can kind of access it from any side when it's facing like the park or the pavilion. The bank on that is quite steep, so you can kind of, not that it's super easy, but you could fall in between there. Can we rectify that when we do fix it? It just needs to be sheared down a little bit, probably just a little, move the earth a little bit.
Yeah,
So it's
we
not
can,
as, yeah,
yeah, we'll evaluate that whole thing. That's a good point that I'll make a note of to make sure that whatever you noticed, and probably as we get closer to that project, do an on-site, if you want to come down with us and make
Perfect,
sure
yeah.
that whatever you're explaining, we're on the same page
Yeah.
with what it was. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yep, I just thought of that, sorry.
yeah, no, this is what this time's for. So if you do have questions, okay, and again, if you have a question, just raise your hand or speak up. But on the history, remember Parks and Rec includes the historic village park. We did paint the caboose and do some other items, working with John Plasik and Don Wertella and the historical societies on different. Those have been completed. So. We'll pause there, but the one item, and I think the majority of you all participated in different exercises through the parks, and it was your guys' efforts that desired to move some of the plants from downtown into Clark Park, and and as well as Sunset Pavilion and Beach area. And I think in talking to Jenny, you're looking at possibly moving more plants to the front entryway of the parking lot off of Kalamazoo. So I'm gonna pause there to hear if there's any questions on this document. Then I'll jump back out to on the agenda. We talked about moving into the needs, wants, and wishes, and have that conversation again as we begin to prep the fiscal year that starts July of 2021.
Yeah, Jim, just about the transplant project, I know last November when we moved items out to Sunset Lake Park, because there were so many of them, we didn't grab everything. And so we thought we would have enough left over to address the parking lot on Kalamazoo Avenue. Do you, and Wendy and Rob, maybe you can help. Where were those plants at that we didn't pull? Were they Main Street or Prairie Street?
I think there was some on Prairie Street that we didn't get to.
I think there was some on Prairie down closer to Main Street Pub.
Okay, so I think if there's any way we could just be made aware of when in front of Main Street Pub, when that might start to be torn apart.
Yeah,
Because
and I
it's gonna
think
be a timing issue.
it'll be after June 15th.
Okay, perfect.
Last time.
All right. Yeah, I know we don't really want to plant before the end of February. So, all right, well, we'll keep an eye on it, and we will hopefully organize another community-based project to move those plants over to that new parking lot.
Okay, then on the needs, wants, and wishes, we certainly want to look at the meeting in March which, let me look up to make sure we're all on the same page of the date, will be March 22nd will be our next meeting. I'll be sending an email out to your group, and we want to look at again what you guys don't have to worry about money or researching how much something is. It's really what your input, what you think the village quote unquote needs within their park system to operate through the fiscal year, what you would want within the park system for the fiscal year. And then we all have that wish list if you know, to look at, and a lot of times that's capital items, but it can be anything. And to begin a discussion, I think the future of the village, the way we're hoping to position it, is certainly for that new generation coming out of, you know, the college educated professional to move into the village with walkability and offer that Parks and Rec outdoor vibe that my kids' ages are all looking to move into those type of communities. So we'll rely on your input, kind of giving you a month's notice on that. If you, and we'll go through, the next meeting will 100% still be via Zoom. And then we just have to wait till the governor's orders, which this one expires on March 29th. So we'll have an update before then, but we'll start to begin an exercise that captures those needs, wants, and wishes from each of you as we proceed forward. It'll be the same timeline that we'll get that, some of that input in March. We'll be getting input from others, including the council, on the area of walkability and parks. In April, we'll refine it. I'll pretty much have it penciled in on the finances of that fiscal year. We'll, as a Parks and Rec body, you'll have the opportunity to support the staff's recommendation or add to it. And then that'll be at the May Parks and Rec meeting, and then it goes to the council in June. We do all the different type of divisions, usually as a standalone in front of the council, and then the final presentation on the overall budget, I looked it up, is going to be June 28th this year. So, but that'll be all encompassing. So kind of pause there if people have questions about defining the needs, wants, and wishes, or the budget process in general. One of the things we are going to look at is incorporating some money into updating the Parks and Rec plan. I still have a couple emails and want to get other municipalities' input on what order works best, meaning a Parks and Rec plan prior to a master plan or vice versa. So I'm still waiting to collect that and figure out where we as staff will recommend to the council we proceed, but we certainly want to update that plan hopefully before June of 2022, or have begin updating the master plan. So you can look forward to that's one thing we'll as staff have built into the budget.
Jim, will that be an outside firm that will complete the master plan?
I'm going to look at the talents within staff as we move forward. I would never, I'll check that. I would never say no to have an outside help, but I'll available all the resources, including those that might owe me favors over the past 20 years for their input to do it. I'm not into giving tens of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money to consultants. And personally, I'll leave my personal thoughts of our master plan to that, but there's sometimes that I think the best input for those type of plans will come from the people within this village who, as we move forward. I will, you know, there will be money for resources. I can assure you of that. As we work on these plans. It just won't be to the level that they were in 2013 and 14.
At the last meeting in November, we had discussed different park and rec committee members being advocates for different parks. And as we're going forward with the needs, wants, and wishes process, of course, if you have any input for any of the parks, we would love to hear your ideas. But if maybe you can take a closer look at the park that you had volunteered to kind of be an advocate for and really do a deep dive on that park and come back with your ideas, it'd be very much appreciated.
I think I had that list shared. Does everyone remember their park or want to go over that? You know, whoop. Whoop. Huh. All right. Glad you're all still there. I was hitting buttons. Next thing you know, you guys were gone.
Does everyone remember their park?
Sunset Lake.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember mine.
Okay. You know, and if you want to maybe partner up with, because I know we had a few people that were partnered up together and do a walkthrough together when the weather gets a little warmer. That might be a good idea too, to just bounce your ideas off of each other, to bring those back to the committee.
I know I wasn't the only one for the trail and the rec area out there.
You were with me.
Oh, let's go for a walk, Jenny.
Okay. Okay.
The one, if I could, we didn't get into kind of an update. I just like, because a lot of times you guys are contacted by neighbors or friends within Vicksburg. Just so you are aware, the infrastructure project, which pretty significant, we're pretty confident it's the largest one Vicksburg's ever undertaken. You'll see a lot of the electronic signs showed up today, beginning to identify areas, and this will begin the first week of March, and especially with the weather getting a little bit warmer now, I anticipate it starting on March 1st. But please follow our social media pages and website as we get information out. But as we stand right now tonight, we can anticipate Washington Street over by the dam area being closed for 4 to 6 weeks to through traffic. And there will be a time that area is completely closed off because it's putting in some underground box type apparatus, as well as Spruce Street, which a lot of individuals use Wilson off W Avenue and come around the corner and northbound on Spruce Street to Richardson and eventually Sprinkle. That northern route will be cut off at Spruce Street because that's where the significant initial work begins. And the project will travel from the Spruce Street lift station up by Brady Township Hall. South on Spruce, it jags over to Pearl Street, comes Pearl to Prairie Street, westbound to Main Street, southbound to Washington, and then Washington to the lift station, which is located over by the dam as well. There is, in conjunction, a project involving storm water that will be going on Prairie Street west of Main down into Clark Park. But again, the initial project starts on the northern edge of Spruce Street by the lift station, then Washington Street, and that's March, the first week of March. And the completion of the project it's a 12 to 14 month project in total. So it's 1 year. And at times, the downtown right there, the depths of the interceptor are about 20 feet with significant sewer and water infrastructure being brought up to current standards. So kind of pause if anyone had questions on that project.
Well, and as part of that, there'll be purchase of benches, dog waste stations, some of the things that we had on our past needs, wants, and wish.
Yep, they've all already been purchased and are in a warehouse storage right now on 9 pallets. So due to the pricing, those have already been purchased and secured. But yeah, we talked about, and I do have the links. I received those last Thursday or Friday from Prime Newhoff on the models. So no later than mid-morning tomorrow. Help me remember this. I'll do it tonight or else I'll forget. I'll send that email link out so you can look at them, but I can't stress enough. They've already been purchased and are in a warehouse. So.
Anything else? Should we move along to number 8?
On the memberships, what I looked and I spent considerable time today looking at the electronic records of the village of Vicksburg and all of our, the one that it seems historically identifies is the positions renewing each year. Now, one thing we'll have to discuss, and you guys might want to discuss amongst yourselves, is I would probably recommend this year, meaning July 1st, this next fiscal year, we set up with 7 of you, 2 people with a 1-year term, 2 with a 2-year, 2 with a 3-year. The council position, which Julie is, that's in every year a president gets to decide on that. But the 6 other members, and then it will start like 3-year terms like our other boards. Now, one thing that this council, and it began over a year ago with the openings in the library, and I think it's a good practice, is similar to other municipalities. We list the openings, which then I would hope that all of you would submit your interest to continue. And then we set these positions, as I said, in 1, 2, and 3-year staggered terms, and then move forward from there. If other people apply and have a desire to become involved in government, we will certainly do our best to find a position. There's one additional board that we're going to tackle before this fiscal year is out, and that's the Municipal Building Authority. That's our last one to get under the best practice model. So that's where I'm at in the research of how the Parks and Rec historically have operated. That is not common in a governmental board situation. So
I like the 3-year rotating because I think that most committees need a little turnover every so often just to make sure you bring in new blood, but also the continuity of having people with a little bit of institutional history is good too.
no, those are good points. It's what we did when we recalibrated the planning commission and expanded to 9 members. Is the first go around, 3 of them were 1 year, 3 2-year, and then the 3-year assignments, and so those ones that were on for 1 year, I anticipate all 3 will reapply to continue, but that next stint will be a 3-year stint. And then, as Rob said, you'd have basically a third of your board positions be open, and individuals who currently sit in that seat can still apply to continue, ultimately by village ordinance. It's the village president's nominates to the council with the council support. A real life example is we did this with the library board. And all three individuals that have sat on the library board for an extensive period of time were renominated by the president. There was other people that expressed interest, and we shuffled and got them involved in other ways within the village government. So.
And then these terms would end June 30th of whatever year.
Yeah, the way, as I look, and it went back like 4 years or 5, must have went back 5 years because it was a year prior to, is it looked like before they would just basically, a question would be asked, hey, does everyone want to continue? Everyone said yes, but there was never, what this council wants, and it's a council decision, is it at least to be posted. So we go through 3 meetings of council meetings where we say we have openings on our Parks and Rec board. They'd have to fill out the application that all of you have already filled out. And I'm using this as an example. We would designate, position 1 and 2 as a 1-year term, position 2 and 3 as a 2-year, position 5 and 6 as a 3-year. And we delineated out that, the next go around, they'd all be 3-year assignments. And if you're currently on the board, you've already submitted an application. So you just submit your interest to continue. If we got an additional, excuse me, which in this case would have to be 7 people, you 6 and anyone else, that would be evaluated. I defer to the village president on that, but we certainly would encourage anyone that wants to be involved in government will find a place for them. Excuse me. Does that make sense how I'm explaining that?
Yes.
And then it follows the recommended procedure for all of our boards. So, and that's the way all the others operate.
I think Sandra's our senior committee member right now.
Yeah, if Julie was here, she would win, but.
Okay. Let's move on to number 9. We have any more questions about the membership and terms? I first of all just want to thank everybody that helped out with the Park and Rec Christmas card. I think if there was a specific category for least amount spent, best looking card, we would have won that election. So, and I'm just really looking forward to warmer weather and working together with you all on future endeavors, and hopefully soon having meetings in person as soon as we're allowed to do that. I'm just looking forward to seeing everything that we did last year, like the Hasta La Vista area and out at Sunset Park, put a lot of hard work in just a couple of hours. And hopefully we'll continue to make that sort of impact in the community.
That comment made me think, Jenny, because you and I talked about it, that those areas will be on the spring mulch list to get mulch in there in those areas. So on our regular rounds of dropping mulch, we'll add those both in Sunset Lake Park area and in Clark Park.
Do we have any public members?
Yeah, we have a council trustee that's been monitoring, and is Ryan Wagner. So Ryan I'm gonna move Ryan with the ability to speak here if he would like to.
No public comments tonight. Thank you, though. Appreciate all the hard work, guys.
All right.
How's it going,
And-
Ryan?
Going well. Thank you, Rob.
And that's the only, Ryan was the only one in the viewing area. And so everyone does know, we do, within 2 days here, I'll have this on a jump drive over to Alex, and Alex will have it on our YouTube page, so it will be for viewing as we record this, so.
Glad I watched my language.
Well, we've been waiting for one to go viral.
That could be a goal for our needs, wants, and wishes.
Oh,
Okay, since we'll move on to number 11 and member comments. I'll start with Sandra.
I don't have any comments at this time.
Rob,
Yes.
Chad,
No comments.
Wendy,
Nothing for me.
Aaron.
I'm all set.
Then our next meeting is March 22nd, 7 PM, again, via Zoom. If there are no more comments, we'll adjourn the meeting.
and we'll adjourn it at 7:41.
Right.
I've
Thank
learned
you.
I've learned to verbalize the time of end because Zoom doesn't.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
challenge us during these needs, wants, and wishes time. So